All right, today we're going to map out the hidden forces that really drive brand power. And look, this isn't about the latest marketing tactics. This is about market physics, the fundamental laws of the game. So, let's get into it and explore the real game, the one that's played behind the scenes.
I mean, you've seen this, right? Some brands just seem to win everything, while other companies, even really good ones, are just left fighting for the scraps. So what's going on? It's not about having a better product. It's not even about having a bigger budget. The answer is in a signal that most brands completely miss. And that signal is what separates the legends from the footnotes.
Okay, so what is this signal? Well, it's a truth that's actually pretty counterintuitive. It goes against everything we're taught about what it takes to win in business. It challenges this fundamental assumption we all have, what I like to call the competition lie.
You know, from day one, we're all taught to compete. The whole idea is to be a better version of what's already out there. But here's the thing. The market doesn't really care about better. The market rewards different. See, the real game isn't about fighting for a bigger slice of an existing pie. It's about baking a whole new pie, one where you're the only one at the table.
And this isn't just some one-off thing. It's a pattern, and it shows up over and over again. And it's all rooted in something really simple about how our brains work. Our minds are just hardwired to simplify. They hate complexity. So for every category, they pick one champion, just one. Don't just take my word for it. Let's try a little experiment right now. Ready? I'm going to say a category, and you just notice what brand pops into your head first. Okay, search engine. Got it? Yeah, I'm willing to bet it was the same single dominant name for almost everyone listening. Okay, let's do another one. Electric vehicles. See? It happened again, didn't it? One name just surfaced instantly, and that one name pretty much defines the entire category inside your head. All right, last one. Energy drinks. It's undeniable, right? The pattern is crystal clear. Your brain doesn't pull up a spreadsheet and compare features. It doesn't weigh the pros and cons. It just instinctively picks a king for the category. And this is so important because it gets to the core truth. You can look at a market report, you can look at a spreadsheet and see a dozen competitors. It looks competitive, but inside the customer's mind, it's a monopoly. And that's the real battleground. So what we're really talking about here is a concept called mental real estate. It's not about market share, it's about mind share. It's that one specific, unique slot that a brand occupies in a customer's brain. And let me tell you, owning that slot, that's infinitely more valuable than owning all the factories in the world. And when you look at the economics of this, it is just staggering. The brand that owns the category, the one we call the category king, they don't just get a bigger piece of the pie. They get pretty much the whole pie. We're talking like 90%. And everybody else? They're left fighting over the crumbs. So this brings us to the game itself. If the ultimate prize is owning that mental real estate, then your strategy can't be about competition. It has to be about definition. The smartest brands out there, they don't try to play the game better than everyone else. They invent a completely new game. And just look at how this reframes everything. The old game, the game of competition, is all about gaining market share. The strategy, add better features. And your opponent, other companies. But in this new game, the game of definition, the objective is totally different. It's to own that mental slot. The strategy isn't features, it's a new narrative. And your opponent, it's not another company. Your real opponent is the old way of thinking. There's this great idea from pioneers in the space like Ries and Christopher Lochhead that just nails it. They say the brand that defines the category is the brand that writes the rules. Think about that. When you create and name the category, you set all the rules. And everyone else? They're forced to play your game, in your world, by your rules. So what happens if you just ignore this? What's the risk of playing that old game of competition? Well, the cost isn't just that you might lose. The real cost is becoming completely invisible. I mean, there's a whole graveyard of better products out there that completely failed. A classic example is the Microsoft Zune. Remember that? On paper, it was a really good MP3 player. You could even argue it was better than the iPod in some ways. But you know what? It didn't matter, not one bit, because it was trying to compete in a category that Apple already owned inside everyone's head. The world didn't need a better iPod. It already had its champion. This is what happens when you just compete. You turn into a commodity. You get stuck in these endless, soul-crushing price wars. You're constantly battling for tiny scraps of attention. And in the end, your brand becomes a footnote in history. You know, that second or third company that nobody can ever quite remember the name of. So, how do the real winners avoid this trap? How do they get their edge? Well, they're not just playing on a different level, they're playing a different sport entirely. It's not about having a smarter strategy, it's about having a fundamentally different way of seeing the world. And their process is, on the surface, deceptively simple, but it's so powerful. First, they identify a problem that people have, but they don't even know they have it. They can't put a name to it. Then, second, they articulate a vision for a new, different future where that problem just doesn't exist anymore. And finally, and this is key, they give that new future a name. They name the category. And by doing that, they own it from day one. And the rewards for pulling this off, they are just immense. You get incredible pricing power, because hey, who are they going to compare you to? You develop this kind of cultural gravity that just pulls in the best talent, the most attention. You get that mental monopoly we were talking about. And all of that translates directly into massive profits and value.
Okay, so understanding this whole idea of category kings is one thing, but the real magic happens when you start to apply it. The whole point of mapping these signals isn't just for us to talk about theories. It's to give you a new lens to look at your own world. So, to wrap this up, let's bring it all home with 3 sharp questions for you to think about. So, question number 1. What category does your brand actually own inside your customer's mind? And I don't mean what's on your website or in your pitch deck. I mean in their gut. If you could ask them right now, what 1 or 2 words would they use to categorize you?
Second question, who defines the rules in your market? Seriously, think about it. Are you spending your days reacting to what your competitors are doing, or are they the ones scrambling to react to you? The answer to that question tells you everything about who really owns the game.
And finally, the last one, maybe the most important one. What would it actually take for your brand to stop competing and start defining? To stop just playing the game that someone else created and to finally truly own it? Because that is the ultimate prize.